Hello, guys. Welcome to book club number 34. 34. This is the book, in case you're wondering, in case you forgot what we're talking about. Is my Wi-Fi on? It is. Can you hear me properly, guys? Can you tell me? Hello, everyone. Hi, guys. Book club number 34. Hi, Hong Kong, Mexico. Tell me where you're signing in from today. So today I'm signing on late. I typically come earlier in the day, but it's been a wicked day. Hey everyone, who's reading the book? Where are you in the book? Hi, Brooklyn, New York, Wisconsin. I love it. Puerto Rico. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about the process of transformation and why we resist so extremely, so ardently, persistently the process of transformation. Jazzy on the J spot just finished the book. What was your greatest aha? Michelle, you're going to read it again. I love it. Simone Mary Mendonca from Brazil. Hi, Rhode Island. It's a masterpiece and came at the exact moment I needed it. I love that. Limitless Life Coach Liz. I'm so happy. Is the Wi-Fi choppy, guys? Okay, I'm back. Let me see better. Hey guys, I just changed my Wi-Fi. Was it choppy? You're on page 71. You're on chapter 4. You're doing it the second time. BBG, raise. Can you hear me? Is my Wi-Fi okay? I think I was a little choppy before. And now, is it better now? Okay, good. Better. I don't know why. It's not better? It's better? It's not better? Sorry. I need to know. Is it okay? All right, Sandra Torres. So let's talk about the process of transformation and why we resist it. So the process, people always ask me, okay, and then what? And then what? And then what, right? What will happen after I change? I go, but you haven't changed yet. Yeah, but what will happen after I change? Then what? Because we always want to make sure in our desire for control that we know what's going to happen when we change. Do you see the idiocy of that? Like, how are you going to know what's going to happen when you're a completely different human being? So what people don't understand is that the change is in the process. There is no change and then something happens. There's no process and then change and then something happens. There is no linear progression to this. You are transforming through the process of the pain, through the process of the expansion, through the process of the contraction. Whatever you're going through, whatever phase, the process is the outcome. The process is the healing. There is no, okay, I'll do this process, then what? The reason we can never answer that idiotic question, is because, I just want to call it what it is. So if you catch yourself saying, then what, then what, then what? Catch yourself, because the then what is out of your capacity for awareness. So any attempt to answer it is a little bit of lunacy. Okay, just saying. So it's like saying, now what? Now what? Now what? Oh my goodness. How about what is in the now? What's now? So people don't understand, or we don't understand, that it is going through the tunnel that takes you out of the tunnel. Now, you're like, duh, Dr. Shefali, I knew that. I knew we have to go through the tunnel to get out of it. But understand it as a metaphor. that the thoroughfare, walking the hot coals, walking the pathway from one end of the tunnel to the other is the change. Boom, you've changed. And when you come out, you are a whole new level of consciousness. Because you are in a whole new level of consciousness, asking before you enter the tunnel, then what, is lunacy, because you are going to shed and transform and develop and morph into a completely new expanded consciousness, so that when you come out, you are so different that when you look back at the tunnel is different. You're like, how is this tunnel different? When you look up at the sky, you're like, I swear to you, it didn't look like this when I started my journey. You look at the trees, you're like, I've never seen trees like this. You look at your own hands, your own face, your own being, your own people, and they all look different. So what I'm trying to tell you is that resisting the process because you just want the outcome is completely at cross purposes. The two should not even be said in the same sentence. So when people come up to me and say, okay, Dr. Shefali, so say I change, or say I left, or say I got a new job, or say I lost 25,000 pounds, or whatever it is that your process is going to be. Okay, what if I did that, then what? Right? Understand that is a question of an unconscious asleep mind. I want your mind to be woken up. So I'm telling you, when you begin thinking the now what questions, you need to understand that is your mind playing tricks on you to just F with you. Okay, let's talk about the now what and the then what and the what if and the should how and the how should and it's just your ego taking you out of presence. Because wisdom understands that it is only in the walking of the path that the release of the old can happen. You have to walk the damn path. You cannot be on the shores, you cannot be on the other side until your consciousness expands. So your consciousness is seeking expansion. And if you bypass that process, there is no other you coming out. And therefore you are wherever you are. You take you wherever you are. So then you didn't really grow. So the reason we resist this is because who we're going to be is unknown. And that is terrifying. That's why, and what I'm about to say will offend people, so close your ears. Close your ears. It's going to offend people, I'm telling you right now. So because we want to know who we're going to be at the end of the tunnel, which is impossible to know because the tunnel changes you into an irrevocably foreign entity, an alien to yourself. Because of that delusion, desire for control, we at the ages of young, naive, 28 and 32, we take vows to marry and till death do us part, till the end of life. They're lovely aspirations. They're lovely visions, fantasies. It's all, though, based on an idea of romance, an idea of the future, an idea of an idea of an idea. Okay? And you lock yourselves into that contract and you're like, you take care of me and I take care of you forever and ever and ever. And anything that is steeped in the then, what, in the then, in the future, is lunacy. You can now take out your fingers from your ears. I won't offend you. And if I do, I will warn you. So sorry to say for those who don't see it this way. Now, I'm not against the institution of marriage at all. I just like to call the institution what it is. A little bit of delusion. Because it is predicated on longevity in the future. And you don't know who you're going to be in the future. So tell your children, please, don't make silly vows that you don't know anything about. Don't promise things that you cannot know about because you're not a psychic, a wizard, a gremlin or a gnome. You're not. You're just very much in the present moment. So let's just stay in the present moment. Yes? Yes. So the reason why we resist is because we are manically obsessed with the narcissistic grandiosity that we should know our future. And living in the present is intolerable to us. Living in the present is intolerable to us. Now, let me say to you people that many people think they're living in the present, but they're not. They're just avoiding living in the present. Or they like to call their reckless abandon living in the present. I'm just living in the present. So I'm going to smoke some weed and I'm going to drink some alcohol and I'm going to, do what I need to do because I'm in the moment. No, that's not in the moment. Okay. Being in the moment is being conscious in the moment, is being present in the moment, is being here and now, is understanding your patterns. Otherwise, you're not in the moment. Your pattern is defining you. The old is defining you. So being in the present requires a presence, a consciousness. So the reason we resist transformation is because you will have to be present. And you know how painful it is to be present to pain? Do you know how painful it is to be present to pain? It is excruciatingly torturing. We are not wired for it. So we want to numb or we want to distract. But if you want to transform and if you want to evolve, you need to learn how to be present to pain. You need to walk that tunnel, knowing, bloody walk it well now, because some awesome creature is going to come out on the other end. The metamorphosis is going to be stupendous. Walk it. Like when I'm about to enter pain, like I'm seeing the pain coming, I'm like, okay, here I am. This is where I'm going to be for the next 2-3 weeks. Minimum, I give myself, okay, Shefali is gone. Because I have to walk the tunnel. I have to walk the pain. I have to feel the feelings. I have to see. I have to deconstruct. I have to do the work. Because I know if I don't do the work now, it's coming to bite me in my ass in 2 weeks. So do it now while it's fresh. I'm not carrying this on my back. So if you could understand the value of the pain, I know now, having worked with innumerable people, that there is such value to this pain. The pain is the portal. The pain is the only birthing canal. So I have deep reverence for pain. When pain comes a knocking, I'm like, come on in. Come on in and take over my entire life. Go ahead, no problem. Let's become fat and let's drink a lot and let's drown in this pain. I'll try to feel it too, You try to feel it, yeah? That was the point of my message, I forgot. Okay, so you let the pain in and you feel it, okay? Don't listen to my past, what I just said. Ignore, delete, edit. So when you have reverence for the pain, when you know pain is going to transform me into some kick-ass, different human being, then you're like, come on, bring it on. When you understand that all pain comes from false attachments to false ideas of what should have been and did not come to fruition, just your false expectations, you're like, okay, pain, I get you, I hear you. What were my false expectations? What were my false attachments? What am I attached to right now that isn't happening? How do I reconcile with the shoulds that I wanted? Come on, pain, give it to me. I'm here to listen. What was I attached to? I always talk to myself, okay, Shefali, what were you attached to this time? Don't you know better? I'm like, no, I forgot. I got attached. Well, then you got attached and pain has come to bite you. That's what happens. That's why the monks say, don't attach. Because right after you attach, somewhere there will be pain. Pain is inevitable. So if you can embrace the pain and let it do its work, listen to me. Don't F around with pain. If you suppress the pain, distract the pain, or think you can outwit the pain, the pain is coming back. It is going to get you. I don't mess with pain. When pain shows up, I'm like, hello, come on in, let's do the work. Let's get this over with. How long is it going to take? Okay, I'm here, I'm ready. I don't resist it. Because the sooner you accept it, And the sooner you dive into the ocean of the pain and you cry your heart out and you get angry and you just get it out, then one day, believe me, it lifts. This is the miraculous thing about it. It's a torturous guest. It's entitled, it stays on your chest, it doesn't leave, it's rude, it takes up space everywhere, it occupies every part of your existence. But the good thing about it, if you treat it well, pain goes away. I'm telling you, it's a miracle. It is a miracle, even though I don't believe in miracles. This is a miracle. It's an irony of the character of pain. I'm telling you, sit with it, be in it, watch it, cry in it, yell, scream, whatever you need to do. I promise you, one day you'll wake up, you'll be like, where did it go? Where did it go? I'm back to myself. This is the science of pain. So simple. Now, why do we resist it? Because pain is painful. It makes you examine yourself and it makes you untether from who you used to be. And even though who you used to be was quite a loser, we are attached to that loser. We're like, we loved that old way. Really? You loved that old way? You were an addict, you were bankrupt, you had a dysfunctional toxic relationship, you were a doormat, you were a pushover, whatever you were. You want to stay that? And you're like, yes, I do. I hate that existence, but I can't let go. This is the problem. This is why we can't let go, because we are attached. We're in love. We're deeply attached to who we are, who we were, even though that person who we were is a bloody mess. So, all problems end at one place. A delusional and narcissistic attachment to your identity. And as long as you're identified with your identity, you will suffer. That's why the monks don't suffer so much, even though they're identified as being monks. And if we stop them from being monks, maybe they would suffer. But they have stopped suffering like the rest of us fools, at least. They're not suffering human relationships. They're like, not doing that. Not attaching to that. Well, we can't be monks, okay? We're not ready to be monks. But we can learn from them and understand that when we are attached to the I, to the me, to the identity of the me, right behind it, the tail comes, the tail of suffering. So if you don't want to suffer, you got to detach from who you used to be. So in order to detach from who you used to be, that stronghold on your identity needs to be loose, right? So you can move, evolve, flow. Now, understand that we have to take that lesson to the present moment. Meaning, right now, even though there may be no pain in your life, you better prepare. Meaning, you better not have some strong identifications with your identity. Because then when pain comes tomorrow, and then you're asked to change this present you, if you're deeply attached, you're going to suffer. Do you understand what I'm saying? In the present moment, stop attaching to your identifications. Because when you stop attaching to your identifications, then tomorrow when pain comes and says, hey, Missy, let go of your identifications, you're like, I already did. I already did. Do you understand? When I bought my first house, so proud to be an owner of an American house. I had a yard, and no offense, but I got one because I had to. I was an owner of an American house in the suburb of New York. I was like, wow, look at me. Okay, that was my small S self, okay? Small I, small mind. My wisdom self was also there. And I told myself as soon as I walked into the house, listen, you getting all big in your ego right there, understand this isn't your house. It doesn't belong to you. You are a temporary stakeholder here. You're a temporary renter. You're a temporary guest. So check your ego. This house doesn't belong to you. Never get attached to this house. And then when I went through my divorce and I left my house, I could walk out light as a feather because I had been doing my work of detaching, not attaching. Now I'm in another beautiful house. And a part of me is like, attach, attach, attach. Look at this house. I love it. I want to live here till death do us part. But I know, hey, ego, cut it out. Cut your BS. This isn't your house. You're just here now. You're a temporary renter. You're lucky, you're privileged, you're blessed, whatever freaking word you want to use. But it's only for the now. With your children. Don't get attached to your children. What a mess that will turn out to be. Don't do it. Because even if your children like you, you shouldn't attach to them. You understand? Even if they're like, no, mommy, I love you. I want to live with you for the rest of my life. You're like, no. No. This is not what a life is. You're not meant to marry me. You have to go. So in all ways, if we can practice present moment non-attachment, present moment non-attachment, check yourself all the time. I write my book. I'm attached. And the other part of me, my wise self goes, hey, you, ego, this is not your book. It doesn't belong to you anymore. Let it go. Let it go and stop it. Stop it, you. And when the ego wants to go check the ratings and check the reviews, I have my wise self always saying, you fool, you fool. Keep doing it, you're going to suffer. Sometimes my ego doesn't listen what to do. But always have the check-in wisdom to know, check you, put you back in your place. So develop that, cultivate that. When you do, your stronghold on your identity is not that severe. And therefore, when pain comes a-knocking, you're like, what do you want to take away from me? And pain is like, I want to take away your old identities, your old fantasies. You're like, here, take. I barely have any left. Hand is empty. Do you see? That's wisdom. Then when pain comes, you flow. You already weren't attached. At least you were halfway non-attached. A little bit the ego was clawed in, but you're almost at non-attachment. So you're like, hello, what are you going to take away from me? Pain, what are you going to take away from me? I didn't have the fantasy anyway. I didn't have the attachment anyway. So when you understand that you are not your identifications, your identity doesn't come from your identifications. Your identity comes from your presence in the present moment only. And from your big S self. The big S self is interconnected with all the global oneness consciousness. And if you understand that that's who you are and that's all you are and nothing more, now you can transform. So our resistance to transform comes from our inability to detach, non-attach from our identity with our identifications. We love whoever we were, even though we were totally effed up. We love that. We're attached. We're clinging on. And we want the house, we want the possessions, we want the shoes, we want the things. All of it is not who you are. So if you keep clinging to things that are not what you are, and then when you're asked to let go of it, but you believe that that's who you are, you're going to be in trouble. Big trouble. So do you want to live a life of attachment, of identification, or do you want to fly? I don't know about you. I'm going to fly. And these things only bother me and bring me down and bring suffering and comparison and competition and lack and scarcity. That's what these things do. I don't want to live in this consciousness. So in order to not live in this consciousness, you have to then challenge yourself moment by moment by moment by moment to enter non-attachment. Now, non-attachment, please, does not mean you don't get up and clean your plate. Okay? Non-attachment doesn't mean you don't tell your kid, hey, no more cookies for you. Non-attachment doesn't mean you don't get out of a dysfunctional relationship. Non-attachment only means you realize that the relationship is not your identity. That being nice to your kid is not what it's all about. Sometimes you have to create boundaries. You're non-attached to things that give you love and worth. You just do what you do then. You gotta leave, you gotta leave. Gotta stay, you'll stay. Gotta say, hey, no more cookies, you'll say no more cookies. You'll do what needs to be done in the present moment. Non-attachment is not non-action. Non-attachment is just non-attachment to the external things that you think can give you an identity and get you love and worth. Non-attachment is not non-action. It is tremendous action. It's action on steroids. So, That is why people resist transformation, because they don't want to let go their identity. So the next time you are in resistance, ask yourself, what do I not want to let go of? And it will be a long list. And you'll be in a lot of trouble. So every day before you sleep, can you please let go? Every day say, this house doesn't belong to me, this body doesn't belong to me, my children don't belong to me, my shoes don't belong to me, my work doesn't belong to me, my title doesn't belong to me. I am essentially unidentified with all identifications. I am empty of identifications. When you understand that, you will have a good night's sleep. Okay, guys. Radical Awakening. See you in the next book club whenever it shows up in the present moment. Bye, guys.